The strike has a lot of parents looking for ways to keep their kids occupied when they would normally be in school.
Joe Vithiathil is joining us in studio to tell us about volunteer opportunities for kids of all ages.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, Portland's Blanchet House, of course, is well known for providing food, clothing, and even shelter to people in need. And they want people to know, parents especially, that they offer volunteer opportunities for kids of all ages. So kids can help others when they would normally be in school, since obviously PPS students are not right now. So kids from kindergarten all the way through senior year are allowed to volunteer for Blanchet House, but what they can do and where they can do it does depend on age. So kids 13 and under do not volunteer at the Blanchet House, but at home they can make sack lunches and assemble care kits to be distributed. So it's not a child care substitute per se, but it can, again, keep those kids occupied doing something positive when they're not having class. Kids 14 and up, though, they can do more and work on site at Blanchet House. Some are student ambassadors who work on projects that bring awareness to homelessness, and kids can help serve meals and do other jobs at all times of the day.
We have shifts every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, helping out with those meals. We also have opportunities between meals, if folks aren't necessarily interested in doing the direct service, between our lunch and dinner shift, there's always lots of prepping to do. So that might be some prep in the kitchen. That might be sorting coats. We get a lot of coats this time of year.
In addition, volunteering at Blanchet House can satisfy service hours that are required at some schools, and they will work with students on that. You can get more information about volunteer opportunities and fill out an online application at the Blanchet House website, and we have a link to that at kptv.com. Kim and Shauna, back to you.